Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
We've got a behind-the-scenes look at Sky Harbor's latest feature coming up.
Plus, we've got details on a task force targeting more than 30,000 fugitives.
And finding water in the desert is a difficult task, but one lady uses a unique tool that traces back centuries.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Crystal Story.
And I'm Brittany Bade. Thanks for joining us.
Did you lose your bags or experience flight delays the last time you traveled?
In an airline quality report released today, the numbers show overall airlines are experiencing more flight delays and lost luggage. However, the report's authors say for the 15 major airlines, it's not all bad in 2013.
Cronkite News reporter Jillian Idle joins us live with our Washington, D.C. bureau with details. Jillian?
For Phoenix-based U.S. Airways, it was a mixed bag in 2013. While performance fell in both baggage handling and on-time arrivals, U.S. Airways was still better than those national average in those areas, and in fact moved up from the 9th place to the 7th place overall, making out of the 15 studied. Airline performance for 15 major airlines in the U.S. shows improvement in 2013.
The industry does a good job for a complex system. There were, on average, every day in 2013, almost 23,000 flights that went somewhere just inside the United States.
However, data shows of the over 8.3 million flights in the U.S. in 2013, the on-time arrival percentage was 78.4, which dropped compared to 2012's 81.8%. U.S. Airways, a major carrier in Phoenix, dropped 4.8% in on-time performance to 81.1%, which is still 2.7% higher than the overall average. American Airlines and U.S. Airways, which merged back in December, issued a statement in regards to the AQR report saying, "Thanks to the hard work of our employees, we have already seen improvements in on-time performance and mishandled bags. These are essential to the overall travel experience, and focusing on customer service is critical as we integrate American and U.S. Airways." But it wasn't all bad news for the airlines. Improvement was seen in the amount of passenger bumpings.
With a constricted system and less choice for many consumers these days in a consolidated industry, the bumpings are down. That's a good thing, actually. People are getting on the plane when they want to get on the plane a little more regularly.
Another area that saw improvement was in customer complaints. 2013 saw an average of 1.13 complaints per 1,000 passengers compared to 2012, which saw 1.43 per 1,000 passengers. Now, both Headley and Bowen say the numbers in this report can be misleading, and this is because their report only contains complaints filed with the DOT and not the airlines directly, a number they say could be rising in an era of social media. Reporting live in Washington, D.C., Jillian Idle, Cronkite News.
Meanwhile, Sky Harbor Airport celebrated the SkyTrain's first birthday today by giving Cronkite News a behind-the-scenes tour of Phase 1A.
The train is arriving.
The SkyTrain is still really new.
Today's the 1-year anniversary of the opening of the SkyTrain.
But it has already helped over 3 million people get to Sky Harbor and back.
I take it every time I come to work. It's awesome. It's really reliable, convenient, clean, and it's really quick to get to the airport.
Right now, the SkyTrain only makes stops at a parking garage and Terminal 4. But soon it will be able to take passengers a lot further.
We're previewing the opening come Super Bowl of Terminal 3 with a walkway to Terminal 2, so all of the terminals will be connected.
Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton led the tour of SkyTrain's newest destination.
Let's walk, let's go. We are making huge progress on the next phase, giving people access to Terminal 3 and an easy walk to Terminal 2.
And that's important because of the huge crowds expected for the 2015 Super Bowl in Glendale.
Terminal 3 opening will be before the Super Bowl, so people from around the country and the world that will be visiting us here in Phoenix will have a chance to utilize SkyTrain.
Regular riders are excited their commute will soon have fewer connections.
Right now they have to get off the SkyTrain and go and find one of the shuttles to take them to another terminal, so it's going to be really, really nice to have it extended.
Even with its longer route, a one-way SkyTrain trip can get you from the 44th Street in Washington light rail stop to Terminal 3 in 8 minutes.
Something that could surprise many of us in Arizona is there are more than 30,000 warrants for fugitives in the state alone. A huge task force is trying to combat the problem. Cronkite News reporter Kimberly Hariza is live with the details from today's press conference. Kimberly?
28 law enforcement agencies in Arizona joined forces last week. They were going after career criminals, fugitives with long rap sheets, and felony-level crimes.
And a narcotics possession.
This isn't a cop show, but police are making arrests, and bad guys are getting locked up in big numbers.
273 fugitives and career criminals were arrested in a 5-day period.
Operation Justice brought more than 24 law enforcement agencies together last week to conduct a metro-wide fugitive roundup.
We used criminal intelligence that was provided by the Marshal Service and our civilian analysts to target those repeat offenders or those that are career criminals.
How did they do it?
Training, intelligence, all those things, and really understanding how to work together as a team.
Felon James Lane had been on the run for years on charges of rape, kidnapping, and drugs.
The most important thing for the community is try and get those career criminals off the road because they are committing the most crimes. They're out there day after day after day perpetrating crimes on the communities.
But law enforcement is also out there day after day.
Really, what happened last week was nothing more than a spotlight on what occurs every week within our jurisdictions. The officers are out even now today performing the tasks that they performed last week under that spotlight, putting their lives at risk to make our community safer.
This was the 6th year of Operation Justice, and because of last week's success, there are 273 fewer fugitives roaming our streets today. Live in downtown Phoenix, Kimberly Hariza, Cronkite News.
When you think water, chances are you aren't thinking about how much salt is in it. The city of Scottsdale is trying to raise awareness about just how much salt is in your water and what you can do about it. Cronkite News reporter Tucson Nugent spoke with a couple of experts about the new pilot program. Tucson?
Here's something to think about. 1 billion gallons of water are used in residential water softeners in the Phoenix metro area every year. That means about 22 million pounds of salt are used, and all that salt ends up in our wastewater. Salt water isn't just for oceans. Your tap water also has salt in it. So much that the city of Scottsdale is trying out a new program urging residents to change or remove their water softeners.
We decided to kind of take this on ourselves to see what we could do.
Scottsdale estimates that 80% of salt in its wastewater comes from water softeners because
soft water makes your life a lot easier.
Marty Jessen of Rain Water Corporation says softened water is better because it doesn't damage appliances with mineral buildups and is cheaper to heat. But the salt that is used to soften water is bad for Scottsdale.
Scottsdale, we're one of the few cities that uses 100% of their wastewater or their reclaimed water for additional purposes.
Things like watering golf courses. The city of Scottsdale will be offering a range of rebates. For example, customers who replace their current water softeners with high-efficiency ones can expect $50, or $250 goes back to residents who completely remove their water softeners.
In the desert, we don't have much of it. We got to use all of it really, really smartly.
Rain Water Corporation recycles all of the water they use as well. There is some urgency to all of this. The water softener rebate program will work on a first-come, first-served basis. I'm Tucson Nugent, Cronkite News.
We all know Arizona is known for its desert, not its water, but reporter Clarissa Tapia found a woman in Tucson who says she can find water using special tools, and she calls herself a water dowser.
Here in Arizona, we see a lot of this. But once in a while, we catch a glimpse of water. But Marge Hefty isn't satisfied with glimpses. She seeks out water in a very unique way.
Can you tell me which way the water is flowing?
Marge is a water dowser, a person who uses special rods to indicate when water is flowing underground.
When you look for water, you envision water. As I was approaching the vein, I knew it was coming.
Using what she calls L-rods and a pendulum, Marge is able to find water in all kinds of places, even though the art of her water searching hasn't quite caught on in scientific circles.
It's not anything that you can give up your day job.
For the past 10 years, the U.S. has been in a moderate to severe drought. In Arizona, this deep orange indicates severe drought, and it covers 36% of the state. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, that number more than doubled from 3 months ago, and experts fear that this drought could last up to 3 decades.
It's going to be more crucial.
That's why Marge has dedicated more than 50 years to dowsing.
I got into dowsing mainly because my husband was, and I thought we should do things together.
And they did until his passing about 10 years ago.
I still call on him to do things. We were a team.
In search of life-giving water and a unique Arizona livelihood.
Yeah, because if nothing else, it keeps me young.
In Tucson, Clarissa Tapia, Cronkite News.
Marge Hefty offers classes for anyone interested in becoming a dowser. The next one is Saturday, April 12th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The cost is $85.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
The peacocks are here to stay. One Tempe neighborhood is going to stay colorful thanks to these majestic creatures.
Why what's under Arizona might be more important than what's above. I'll have more coming up next.
Imagine being stranded.
Feeding 16,000 points for them.
From TV banks to computers.
Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Kiss me. That's my kind of man. You've been creating quite a stir.
It looks like a Tempe neighborhood will remain a home to 2 feathered friends. Most residents of the Maple Ash neighborhood enjoy regular peacock sightings on their streets, but because of complaints filed by one resident, city council members were considering changing the city ordinance. Now that will no longer be necessary. City code compliance has decided that since the peacocks are not being sheltered by any one resident, they fall outside the city code.
They gathered above ground at the Capitol today, but it's what's below the surface that brought miners and legislators together today.
There are thousands of mines all over Arizona, and mining companies say there are thousands of reasons why we need them.
We need mining in every aspect of our life. Our cell phones have 30 different minerals in them. So with all the technology coming in the future, we're going to need mining even more than we need it today.
And on mining day at the state capitol, they also wanted legislators to know about the jobs their industry provides.
It employs over 50,000 employees in the state, and it's a $4.8 billion industry.
Not only is Arizona producing the minerals, but also the employees that will cultivate them.
I study mining engineering at the University of Arizona. I am currently a senior, graduating this May.
But it's not only book smarts these students need.
Safety is by far the most important thing when it comes to mining, especially when you're using machines like these.
And these machines play a large role in the state's improving economy.
I think mining is crucial to the economy of Arizona, and it provides real jobs, it provides exports, and it generates real wealth for the communities in which it operates. And I think that's important for the Arizona legislature to recognize.
Next week, we'll have a full report on a mine project that changes the way we find copper and how it could bring more jobs to Florence.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
New details are emerging about what goes on behind closed doors. We take an in-depth look into the questionable procedures at one of the state's psychiatric hospitals.
NewsWatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think it's a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
What if we could unlock every mystery?
We're at the beginning of a revolution.
That's a huge discovery.
That's never been done before, ever, anywhere.
Touchdown.
No one feeds on curiosity like PBS. Give to your PBS station so future generations can keep asking, what if?
The Palo Verde Behavioral Health Hospital in Tucson has violated several state and federal rules when restraining patients. Cronkite News investigative team reporter Katie Mickelseth has more. Katie?
Crystal, there are more than 200,000 Arizona citizens who suffer from a mental health illness. Our investigation found not all of those patients are treated as they should be.
They are some of our most vulnerable.
If a doctor or a hospital is using restraint simply for convenience or to coerce clients, that's abuse.
Patients unable to speak for themselves.
There are other ways to manage clients or residents that don't involve having to restrain people.
And experts say no one is taking action.
It's a failure of the policy and procedure.
Of the 4 licensed psychiatric hospitals with the most violations in Arizona, data reveals one more troublesome than all others. At the Tucson Medical Center's Palo Verde Behavioral Health Unit, citations reveal concerning details, including handcuffing patients during transport. One patient suffered from a fracture while being restrained. And records did not contain documentation of restraint.
They're required by law to fully document the restraint.
Asim Varma, staff attorney for the Arizona Center for Disability Law, says the lack of documentation was concerning.
If that's not documented, that could be a red flag that maybe there was some abuse going on.
The Arizona Department of Health Services estimates that more than 200,000 Arizonans were registered as mental health patients in 2012. Almost a quarter of those patients in Pima County. The Tucson Medical Center has one of the highest numbers of license citations in the state. State and federal surveys cited TMC a combined 44 violations over the past 3 years. 80% of those happened in the 48-bed unit of Palo Verde Mental Health Services. Kathy McCanna encouraged looking at the descriptions to understand the severity.
It's the content and it's what was their failure.
Lisa Samsel, a clinical administrator at the Foundation for Senior Living, a nonprofit that focuses on the care of the disabled and elderly, stresses the need for care over control.
You think of them as only their diagnoses, and when you get into the field, you remember, oh right, person first.
Under the administration of TMC, the Palo Verde Mental Health Services Unit was cited for issues of patient restraint and seclusion. When sitting down with McCanna, NewsWatch asked why no action has been taken.
We do not look at the number of violations as a measure of quality or disquality. What is more important to us is a violation that has occurred on a repeat survey.
This is not the first time TMC has been in the news. In 2007, the Tucson Citizen found that TMC had been fined for its 13 restraint violations at its behavioral health unit. We called and emailed the Tucson Medical Center several times. TMC declined to comment due to a recent change in ownership. A change in ownership that has advocates hopeful for a change in care.
I think you either fall in love with this population or you shouldn't be working with them.
People we spoke to for this story told us they hope the management changes will mean changes for the better. For the investigative team, Katie Mickelseth, Cronkite News.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
Well, summer showed up early and isn't wasting any time. Phoenix jumping toward those triple digits, and there's a championship game on tonight, but check out where it all began. The B-ball stars of tomorrow are learning life lessons today. Coming up next.
A tradition of excellence, integrity, and innovation.
The second I came in, I fell in love with the program.
The Cronkite School propels students into the new era of journalism.
Students are learning.
Digital, entrepreneurial, and collaborative labs encourage students to shape the future of the industry, and the industry is watching.
We have come here to meet with students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism.
The Cronkite School, the journalism school for the digital age.
What if television could sweep us away to another time and place?
Very nice, my lady.
And could take us from the Gilded Age to the Great War. From the heat of the chase to the heart of a queen. No one tells stories like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring stories like these to life. What if television could remember the heroes we honored, the music we danced to, the dreams we chased?
The hope still lives and the dream shall never die.
No one tells our nation's story like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring America's story to life.
Well, the rain just won't go away. Georgia and Mississippi feeling the moisture. Look at this flooding, and the drivers brave enough to tackle the roads. Meanwhile, here in Phoenix, let's just say that perfect weather has left for the summer. It was inevitable, but the 90s are upon us, and I'm not talking about any boy bands. Look at the temperatures right now. 94 already in Yuma. We're up at 86, and things are warming up all across the North Valley as well. In Flagstaff in 62. Well, how does that compare to the rest of the nation? Things are warming up in general. 50 in Chicago, 52 in St. Louis, and then 71 all the way up in the Northwest. Now, looking at that rain that I just mentioned, you can see this entire storm system, all this rain, ice, and snow moving up along the East Coast. Hopefully that will be one of the last pushes we've been watching and waiting for spring to come out, waiting for the sun. But as you can see, it's no time slowing up there on the East Coast. Maybe some of that rain will come over our way, and we're going to need some wind to do it. We're looking for some of those winds later in the week to blow in some clouds. But right now, we don't have any wind speed right now in Phoenix and up north Flagstaff at 8 miles an hour and Show Low at 9. They're not cooling things down for us a lot, but don't be fooled. As soon as that wind picks up, that doesn't mean the sun's not getting you. So make sure you're keeping on the sunscreen, drinking lots of water, and you can see, taking a look at the 5-day, wow, 99 on Thursday, and just look at it. It is hot, hot, and even more hot. We're gonna dip back down into the 80s on the weekend, but just expect high temperatures. Like I said, we could possibly be seeing triple digits in the month of April, and it's just heating up from there. Well, another place where it's heating up is Arlington, Texas. Big championship game happening tonight. A forecast for Texas, well, a low of 49, and of course, rain. Now, AT&T Stadium is going to be electric tonight, and that's because they've got two of the hottest teams playing together. Take a look at it now. UConn, well, they took down #1 Florida, becoming the first ever 7 seed to make the finals. This is the second consecutive year both UConn men's and women's team will play for the title. Lady Huskies are going for the repeat, but the men will have their hands full tonight with a young Kentucky squad. Those Kentucky Wildcats I'm talking about, well, they defied logic yet again. Aaron Harrison buried a 3 with just over 5 seconds to go, beating 2-ranked Wisconsin. Kentucky, first all-freshman starting 5 to the finals since Michigan's Fab 5 did it in '92. Tip-off at 6:10 p.m. tonight, local time, and you can catch that on CBS. Well, a new champ will be crowned in Arlington, but here in the Valley, one former pro is scoring points by teaching kids the sport he loves.
I'm learning how to play basketball, and it's just fun.
It's a simple game. Put the ball in the hoop. Simple lessons learned between the baselines that can make a huge difference.
Around and I'll see these guys and these kids, lack of basketball skills and knowledge, and it kind of pushed me towards that direction. So I said, well, it's time for a change.
So Al Curtis Turner, who played in the ABA, created the KBA, or Kids Basketball Association. Every Saturday from 11 to 1 p.m. in Maricopa, kids come out for drills and instruction on technique. But the purpose runs deeper than jump shots.
It's a lot of kids that have low self-esteem. It's a lot of bullying going on. You see what I'm saying? So it's my job to come out here and look, let's get this together, You a leader, not a follower.
He pushes kids toward their basketball goals and also their life dreams.
To be honest, it's not basketball related. I want to be a doctor.
Teamwork, leadership, and responsibility are all basketball fundamentals.
My message is to get these kids fundamentally sound, but also help them become better people in the future, because the youth is our future.
The KBA is proving that if kids reach, they'll teach.
Learning how to dribble, learning how to pass the ball, and learning a lot of other cool stuff, because learning is a part of life.
And every Saturday, Coach Turner can be found covering it all.
Now, the KBA launched in November and has already spread to Ahwatukee, Chandler, and Tempe. Turner says his goal is to reach every kid in the valley. And keeping it on basketball, Suns with a big win last night over the Thunder. They're looking to squeak into the playoffs.
No, that's great. We wish them luck because they have one of the toughest schedules coming up still.
Thanks for bringing us sports today, Adam.
You're welcome.
That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight. Don't forget, we're always on the web. Just head to CronkiteNewsOnline.com.
And while you're there, you can now subscribe for daily headlines from all of our Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us. Good night.